in this lesson, we will kind of clean up our scene and organize everything, and then talk about our assignment for level 3. So once we've got our geometry built, we can start to kind of set things up a little bit better. We can go into our outliner and start to work with our hierarchy. We can also check the normals really quickly by just turning off two-sided lighting. You can see here that the only pieces are these sort of grill pieces. These are NURBs, so we'll go to Surfaces, Edit NURBs, Reverse Surface Direction, and then we can do that on the subsequent pieces as well. All right, we can start to name things in here. And some of these pieces we can start to merge together. So for instance, all 3 of these pieces we're probably not going to need to work with separately, so we could take all those, go to Polygons, Mesh, Combine, delete the history, and then we can just call this something like barrel interior. And then we've got this main piece. You just call this something like main, or if you have something a little bit more descriptive, you could call it that. Top cylinder, and then maybe this is the wire. We can go ahead and take our geometry and make sure that we don't have any more curve connections or anything like that, and we can delete our curves, so we won't need those anymore. And call this gun barrel. We've got several groups here that have been created. This can be maybe tube A and tube B. This group we don't really need. It was mainly created for the duplication. So we could take both of these pieces and combine those, delete the history, and we can call this something like barrel sides. And then just, go in and name everything. We've got the trigger, the handle, start to organize everything together. You've got the grill. We can call this grill A. And remember, we can go in, select all of these, go up and make sure rename is selected, and just choose grill A underscore, and it'll name everything. We'll do the same thing here. So this can be grill underscore B, just so everything has a unique name instead of NURB cylinder, and kind of get a better idea of where it goes, what it's supposed to be. All right, now I want to group the handle together, so I'll take the trigger and the handle, and let's group that together, and we'll call this handle group. All right, and then we can take everything else and group that together and call it whatever we want. And then I'm going to take the handle group and I'm going to move the pivot. So let's go to the side. The handle group pivots over there. So I'm going to either use the D key or insert on my keyboard, come in and set the pivot, and that will allow us to kind of rotate this around. So I've set it at the center of this cylinder. And now we can kind of rotate our handle around inside that channel. So if we want to have it more down like that, I kind of like it at a pretty shallow angle, so we can have it kind of down in that spot if we want to. All right. And so having that as its own separate group within that allows us to have to move the not only the handle but also the trigger, and also move the pivot exactly where we need it to be. Okay, so just now coming in and kind of checking things. If you want to run cleanup as we did before, you can kind of do that on some of these pieces also. Okay, and then we can turn on our grid and kind of see where this is. You might want to set the pivot of your overall gun if you wanted to center that, and then snap that to the origin. So off a little bit. There we go. You can do that. So there we have our gun. We've gone through the process in the last hour and a half or so of just looking at some of the ways that we can start to build these pieces using many of the tools here in Maya, kind of working with the geometry that we already have. We can build the geometry off of it. We can add new pieces to it and just try to make something that works well together visually, and then serves the need of whatever it is, in this case, a prop, kind of a weapon for a character in some kind of a film or a game. All right, so hope you've enjoyed the last level here, level 3, and going through this process. Now, as we talked about with many of these levels, it's one thing to go through and make this step by step, but really to really understand if you've kind of caught on with some of the tools and techniques that we've been using to get certain effects, the key is going to be being able to apply that to your own models. So I'd encourage you now, as part of this end of level 3 assignment, to create something similar. So maybe with similar pieces, some similar shapes, but really customize it and make it your own and experiment a little bit. So, do a search for some images. There's this gun is from Fifth Element, so it's kind of really simple shapes, but it's a really cool design. And I really like this this design. You can go through some really simple kind of video game weapons, Ratchet and Clank. So there's a lot of simple shapes here, but you can really have some fun with those shapes, some tubes and things like that. So do something similar to this with some bevels, some smoothed surfaces where you get some nice shapes there. You can try to blend in some different elements on some of these structures, like these ramps here, just to kind of add to the complexity of it, so it doesn't look, you don't want all straight lines. You don't want all, perfectly sharp lines, so it'll look really CG. So just have a little fun with it and spend some time creating your own kind of weapon design. It doesn't have to be a weapon, but I found that this sort of stun gun works well to create some kind of simple shapes, but still have the complexity that we want as part of this progressive level structure. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So once you're done with the level 3 assignment, then the next thing you want to do, if you want to continue on, is jump into level 4, where we'll tackle a little bit more complex model, so kind of a robotic drone, before moving on to level 5 with the character. So I hope you've enjoyed here level 3 and the quick start to modeling in Maya course. I've enjoyed being with you for the last hour or so. We will see you in the next level. Good luck on your assignment.